Hello all. Uh, Today I'm going to briefly touch upon the most important uh, of all the frauds that you see day in day out in some form or other. It may be from a company, to a big corporate to a governments, or it may also relate to different nations level. The thing is, they are that is the word corruption. Today, you cannot escape reading the word corruption in at least some of the newses that are available on TV. There no day that passes without corruption. Actually, it is an exhaustive and very deep fraud rooted across the world in several businesses, government organizations, and at different levels. That I'm going to bit exhaustively give a PPT presentation of that at a later date. But today I just want to touch upon that. The word corruption. What do you understand by corruption? See, let me read out for your benefit. Corruption is a term used to describe various types of wrongful acts designed to cause an unfair advantage. It can take on many forms, including bribery. Under corruption, it comes bribery, kickbacks, illegal gratitudes, economic extortions, and collusion. As you can see, the word corruption it has under it takes different formats. At times, it may not be even money, but some exchanges, some illegal gratitudes. Okay, it may be in the form of kickbacks and commissions. It may be in the form of giving certain amount of money for the sake of getting a contract. Or saying if I get that contract, a certain percentage I'll give you. Okay, and or it may also mostly happen in a procurement department in small, medium, large organizations or in government at different levels. It's the biggest area where you often come across allegations of corruption of a person taking a favor to do a favor, taking money for getting something, taking money to award a contract, taking money to give a favorable opinion, okay, and to do certain acts, okay, to do certain favors which are unethical, illegal, illicit, maybe also go global, maybe terrorist activity also. So there is corruption. Corruption in the form of kickbacks and bribery. Okay, kickbacks means you get certain percentage of the deal, and bribery is outright payment of monies. Okay, so it is a very very important aspect of frauds, and unfortunately it is also quite very difficult to catch the people involved in this bribery and kickbacks, because you have to prove out things to the satisfaction of the courts, and the evidence will not be so easy to get, because most of these cases very highly influential business people or influential people or high politicians or even nations and national leaders at times are involved. It is difficult and to get evidence and prove. Okay, So this bribery and kickbacks. The most common areas of corruption in an organization is in the in the purchasing department or environment department, and most corruption schemes involve employees acting alone or in collusion with vendors and contractors. Okay, this is a small definition. But in a product concept, corruption always involves insiders and outsiders. Okay, for give and take. It is a sort of give and take corruption. It may take whatever form. So this is a kickbacks. What do you mean by kickbacks? Is improper, undisclosed payments made to obtain favorable treatments. Kickback schemes are classified as corruption schemes. Okay, and also there will be sometimes conflict of interest. So, okay, a conflict of interest occurs when one employee or agent is someone who is authorized to act on behalf of the principal and has undisclosed personal or economic interest in a matter that could influence them. Okay, and so, uh, he will do a favor to somebody in exchange of something which is in his capacity. Okay, to do that favor. So bribery and corruption fraud examinations are often longer, deeper, and broader than most internal fraud examinations, as explained to you earlier, because of those reasons. So there are volumes of corruption cases which I can briefly uh, give you, like that 25 corruption scandals that shook the world. Okay, this is all in print. Let me tell the viewers, these cases, some are alleged, some are denied, some are under investigation, some are proved, some are not proved and may never be proved, and some are discharged by the respective governments or authorities as no evidence. Keeping that in mind, see, there are 25 corruption scandals that shook the world. See, no fire. See, no smoke, sorry. No smoke without fire. Always keep in mind. In frauds, always you see the smoke. Only thing is, you have to go and find where the fire is. But without fire, the smoke is not there, and it's at times difficult to get into that. So, this is a thing like, okay, briefly like Siemens corruption made in Germany. Okay, this in a brief I will deal with the proper presentation in due course. Then there is Ukraine is missing millions, draining Nigeria of its assets. The Panama Papers. A couple of days back, I'm discussing about this Panama Papers. Okay, and money laundering, and Maldives, a paradise lost. Okay, Myanmar's dirty jade business. Okay, Turkey's gas for gold schemes. Okay, Paradise Papers, where the rich and powerful hide their money. You see, incidentally, this corruption is the basis. Let it be bribery, kickbacks, or anything. That is a root cause of money laundering, which we have discussed earlier. So these are all interlinked. Many of all these big frauds are interlinked. Okay, and involve money, illegal money, undisclosed money, and on which taxes are not paid, unpaid taxes, cheating the government. Okay, for illicit, illegal, and terrorist purposes. So, in all this is all the corruption. In this corruption goes around the money, and this money is what is laundered. And for that laundering are what they use as tax haven countries, and then what you call shell companies, and all these, either to convert this corrupt money, black money, in some black money has got many meanings. Okay, in this case, let us take this black money out of this corruption, trying to either just totally hide it, divert it, and later on bring it as legal money. Okay, and make it legal. So this is all a vicious circle of the fraud. The biggest frauds are these corruption cases. They go unnoticed. It becomes very difficult to prove, and there will be so many political and other issues involved for the truth to come out. Okay, you see only one day headlines something, the next day it disappears. You may never see the conclusion of that, or you may see the conclusion as the case is closed, as there is no evidence. Okay, so there are like FIFA football, parallel universe, Myanmar's dirty jade business, Paradise Papers, and you see to go through all this, it will take any number of times. Okay, and then we have our own specifically, and of course in US also one of the biggest thing is US Navy corruption on the high seas. Okay, by one guy, is called Fat Leonard. Leonard Glenn Francis is his name, of $35 million of corruption. Okay, of because of his position and all that one. Okay, through various means he has done the corruption, and it is a very famous thing which the AC, Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, Journal, September-October 2018 was given. US Navy corruption on the high seas. Okay, so whenever you see corruption, generally you see big people, big corporates, political and at national level. Then on India, let me tell you again, these cases are squashed due to lack of evidence, or some are in progress, some are convicted where there is evidence, but there are allegations and proofs to the extent possible, and they are hit the headlines of the day. Okay, like Bofors scandal. Regarding Bofors scandal was one of India's major weapons contract political scandal that occurred in the 80s and 90s. Okay, and so I don't want to go to the more details than this at the moment. Okay, then it is supposed to have, they're supposed to have exchanged 640 million in the form of kickbacks. What is truth? What is false? We don't know. Probably will not know. Okay. Then there is Telgi scam. Telgi scam. That is stamp papers. Okay. Abdul Karim Telgi, the kingpin of a multi-crore counterfeit scam that unraveled in 2002. Okay. He appointed 350 fake agents to sell to the banks, insurance companies, and stock brokers. Obviously, there must be hand and glove in this also. Nothing happens single-handedly. Remember that. Okay. So, then 2G spectrum scam, political in India. Okay. The 2G spectrum scam. The politicians and government officials under one government, okay, were named in the scam. Okay. And it surfaced when the C&AG was doing some audit and all these things. And at that time they have cancelled many contracts and all that, and afterwards it was taken to task the alleged culprits. Afterwards they are let off and all these things. Okay, because of whatever reasons. Then there is Satyam Computers, of course. It's a very well known. We have discussed it several times. Total money laundering, some 7,000 to 10,000 crores. It's all corruption at the highest order. Cooking books and everything. It has got all the spicy things of a fraud. Satyam Computers. Then the Commonwealth Games scam. Okay, it's another political and government related, and is alleged involving a pilferage of 70,000 crores of rupees. Okay, only half of the said amount was spent on the games or whatever it seems, and that's how it goes. Then Punjab National Bank fraud case we have discussed, and the Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi. Okay, one run away to UK. Now extradition proceedings and court proceedings are all going on against him. Okay, the is a bank related scam. Okay, of a big jeweler. He and his uncle Mehul Choksi, who is hiding in the Caribbeans somewhere, and Nirav Modi in UK. Okay, there are also, it's alleged in that fraud there are corruption is involved, corruption, feedbacks and all that. Okay, somebody does you favor, which is out of the way. Obviously, there is some money involved that goes under the desk. That is corruption. You call it bribery, call it kickback, or whatever, like that. Okay, they were all top scams. So the thing is, why I am touching briefly is this is the biggest cause. This is the biggest cause of money laundering, corruption, bribery, kickbacks in millions and millions and crores rupees. That exchange. That first there will be allegation. Next it may be proved or unproved, or if proved that one, turned back as no, not sufficient evidence. What earlier court is given wrong. So it is not done. And so that's what happens when it is done at high proportions, at high levels. Okay. But as the fraud examiners and as chartered accountants and all that one, okay, we do have the usual red alerts, okay, the other standard procedures for us, like we have to see, I mean, from the basics, like whether properly it is advertised or not, bits and things, and any unreasonable pre-qualification procedure that excludes specifically any bidder or which allow unqualified bidders to come. So you have to go through the terms and conditions of the contract. Okay, then leaking of the bid information to certain bidder who is in favor. Okay, disqualification of bidders for arbitrary or trivial reasons during bid evaluation. Okay, splitting purchases to avoid procurement thresholds, pressure by project officials on contractors to select a particular subcontractor or agent, long delays in contract negotiations or awarding them. Okay, approval of unnecessary change orders to increase the contract price after award. Okay, these are all the various things which, if you go through, can point out that a particular transaction it is not fair and reasonable, though it may or may not be possible to prove the corruption involved in all these cases. Okay, so the standard procedures we apply, like identify general interview questions, okay, bribes and kickback questions, okay, and we collect the procurement documents and other things and go through them, conduct thorough due diligence, background checks and all these things, discreetly collect employee files on suspect projects or government officials, including to the extent available, and all these things, collect and review prior audit reports, investigating reports of the same, and whether there were any external consultants, adverse reports and all these things. So it is a huge process whereby at least we as fraud fighters and fraud examiners and as auditors at least can give a clue that this particular contract or something is suspicious and needs further investigation. So with this very concise and brief words, I conclude this one. And in due course, I'll present a bit elaborate PowerPoint presentation giving details of the various cases where there are allegations of this corruption. Thank you.